The Garden State Parkway is one of the biggest highways in New Jersey, stretching about 172 miles from the northern end at the New York border all the way down to Cape May at the southern tip of New Jersey. It was originally designed in the 1940s and 50s as a scenic parkway, meant for passenger cars connecting suburban and coastal areas with New York City and other parts of New Jersey. Over time, though, it's become a major commuter and tourist highway, carrying hundreds of thousands of vehicles every day. The constant stream of traffic releases a mix of carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and fine particles into the air. These emissions drive into nearby neighborhoods where families breathe in polluted air linked to asthma, heart disease, and other health issues. For many lower-income communities built close to these roadways, the burden is heavier, invisible but constant. For many New Jersey residents, the Parkway is a symbol of the state. It connects the shore, the suburbs, and the cities, but it also represents the environmental cost of heavy car dependence and suburban expansion. These issues aren't limited to the Garden State Parkway either. Most large highways emit the same pollutants and generate similar levels of noise, creating widespread environmental and public health concerns across the country. However, unlike many interstate highways that pass through more industrial or rural zones, the Parkway runs right through densely populated suburbs like Paramus, Woodbridge, and Bloomfield.
Highways to get to the Bronx.
It's sometimes easy, especially if I leave late, but most of the times I hit traffic and it could be sometimes really tiring, but I've kind of learned to deal with it.
How long would it usually take for you to get there, on average?
On average, half an hour. Fastest 17 minutes, longest an hour. Basically, the traffic sometimes, stop and go exactly most of the times, especially around the corridor of 95, from the bridge all the way to the Sheridan Expressway.
How would you describe your life living in this particular neighborhood in Paramus?
It's very nice and quiet most of the times. At times when things are quiet, sometimes you could hear the highways, the GS Garden State Parkway and or 17.
What are some difficulties you face environmentally, especially living so close to the Garden State Parkway?
Well, some difficulties, nothing is all the time perfect, Traffic is one of the major things that Paramus is plagued with, and it could get pretty hectic, especially during holidays. Well, we have 17, Route 17, Route 4, and the Parkway. Exiting from from the three of them, in or out, could get sometimes pretty tedious, and accidents could happen as well, and that could be very frustrating sometimes.
Okay. As a resident of both New York and New Jersey who mainly relies on interstate highways to get to work, what's your perspective on our polluted climate, even though you're not contributing to it as much as other residents?
Well, certainly pollution is a major subject and issue nowadays, with the number of cars and other apparatuses like ACs and such contribute to the pollution. It does have a major effect. Sometimes you don't realize it, but you can realize it at times through different ways, in which may only get worse in the future. Sometimes you'd be like coughing or smelling things that you're not used to, or even exiting from inside to outside, you kind of feel, or entering inside a house or an office, the environment and the air is a little kind of stale and things not pleasant at most of the times.
As a society, we must do our individual parts in reducing our carbon footprints to help make our Earth a more livable place for us.